Good evening, Fernwood. My name's Neil. Come on in, sit yourself down, and let yourself go watch some Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman. Let's do this thing where we go to the April 30th, 1976 episode of Friday. I expect big things might happen. Let's recap yesterday's episode. It started with Roberta consulting with Grandpa because she's not happy with what's going on in Dennis and her relationship, especially as regards Kathy and the engagement that she understands is the case. Of course, we know some other stuff based on things I'll mention later. We go to a scene with the Hartmans at breakfast where Heather suggests that Mary might be going through a change of life, maybe a little bit early for what was coded for menopause at that point. At least that's my assumption based on how characters were speaking about it. Martha comes over and escalates things because Kathy is crying about the called off wedding with Dennis and that Mary seems to be involved in somehow. Mary denies this wholeheartedly, of course. Next, Roberta goes over to Dennis's house and tries to press on the relationship. Dennis Dennis definitely dodges and weaves a little bit. He still wants to have Roberta as a non-primary relationship. I guess Roberta's maybe a little bit confused. This is talk about how relationships work in a non-monogamous situation. It's a little late in my mind, but apparently all of the women in this show really, really like Dennis. And finally, we come back to a scene with Loretta and Charlie coming home from the airport without Timmy. Charlie is, of course, very disappointed. Then Loretta is supportive, saying that they'll have plenty of money coming up and more chances to do the things that they want to do. And then they find the letter from Clyde that Muriel had hidden from them all this time. And Loretta discovers at this point that there is no career, there is no contract. They have hit rock bottom. That was my recap of yesterday's episode. Let's go ahead and get started with the April 30th, 1976 episode of Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman.
Hello? Oh, man. Listen, have you seen Charlie? I haven't got back from the airport yet. You haven't got back from the airport yet? But that plane was doing over 2 hours ago. I mean, where the hell are they? Well, I don't know, Charlie. Listen, Charlie was doing, he took some time off from work, but he was doing over an hour ago. If he doesn't get back pretty soon, he's going to be in big, big trouble. I'll tell him if I see him. Okay, if you see him, you tell him to get his tail on down here, else he's going to wind up in a sling, okay? All right, Tom. Okay, I got to run. Bye.
Hi. I'm sorry.
That was my second best set of dishes.
I'm really sorry.
Now I can only serve family dinners for 5, and there's 7 in my family.
Then you only had dishes for 6 before.
Yeah, but that was alright because usually Kathy or Grandpa didn't show up.
Well, you can use your first best set.
That's for company. What do you want? What are you doing here?
I want to talk to you.
About what?
The truth.
No, don't do that. I don't want to hear the truth. It confuses me. What truth?
The truth that you want me as much as I want you.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. So, my own sister stabs me in the back like a snake in the grass. You're a wolf in sheep's clothing. You act like an innocent puppy, but you're a horse of a different color. All those animals.
Kathy.
You just stay out of this. This isn't your fault. She set a trap for you and you fell into it. I'm not blaming you, but you. What kind of a person would do that to their own sister? I mean, it's tacky. That's really tacky. It's the pits. I hate you, Mary Hartman. I mean, you've ruined my whole life. And just remember this, whatever happens to me, it's your fault. You needed that. Oh my God, I'd be struck down by anything that folds. A plague on my house. Famine on my family. Oh, I've never felt so guilty in my entire life. Oh, what a terrible, terrible thing I've done. How could such a thing happen to me? I mean, how could things go wrong like this? I mean, I try to live my life right. You know, I try to do good things for everybody, for my family and everybody. I mean, how could things turn out this wrong?
It just came out, right?
I know. And my sister hates me, and my daughter ignores me, and my mother bugs me, and my husband can't communicate with me. And I just, why? I mean, why is this happening to me? Why?
Because you're not honest.
Honest? Me? Not honest? I am Abraham Lincoln. Without a beard. No, really, I mean, I am the person. I redeposit the coins back into the telephone booth when extra money comes out.
Mary, you're not honest with yourself.
I don't know how you can say such a thing. I just don't understand. You know, I learned one very valuable thing. So actually, I learned two very valuable things. So one was I learned that the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides. Now, I'm sure that's going to come in very handy. And the other valuable thing I learned is, which is much more important, I think, is I learned to thine own self be true. So how am I not honest? Oh my God, I've done this terrible thing to my sister. Look what I've done to her.
Because you won't admit that you want me.
What do you mean, want you? Want you how? I mean, how would I want you?
Just the way you think.
You mean carnally?
Where'd you get that word?
From a movie. R-rated. I'd never go to X except 3 times.
All right. Yes, Mary. I mean carnally. Why won't you admit you want me carnally?
Well, what good would it be to admit it? I mean, if I did. I mean, I didn't say I did. I said if I did. What good would it be to admit it? I mean, what's the point? Oh my God, I've ruined my baby sister's life. I mean, I'm this evil person. I'm doing this evil thing.
Because then you would do something about it.
What do you mean, like do it? Do it?
Yes.
I couldn't do that.
Why not?
Why? Wait a minute, why are we even talking about this? I mean, I haven't even admitted
You
anything.
don't have to admit it. Not in words.
Is it that obvious?
Oh, Mary.
Oh, please don't look at me that way.
Why not?
Because it just makes me forget that I couldn't.
Mary. Mary, why are you depriving yourself of something you want so much?
Because I am practically a happy married woman.
You don't seem very happy.
Well, most happily married women aren't. And can you imagine how unhappy I'd be if I was carnal?
Mary, why would you be unhappy doing something you want so much to do?
Because part of me just wants so much not to do it, you know?
You feel guilty?
Guilty? Guilty? Would I feel guilty? I mean, if you break the law, you're guilty, right? I mean, you're a policeman, you ought to know it. Of course I'd feel guilty. I mean, I feel guilty now.
It's not against the law anymore.
They repealed that law?
Yes.
Really? See, I didn't read anything about that in the papers. I guess they didn't want to encourage me. So it's not against the law anymore?
No,
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
I still couldn't do it.
Oh, Mary. Mary, can't you see that you're being hung up by an outmoded code of morality? Times have changed. People have changed. Morals have changed. The world has moved on.
I guess they left me behind. I have destroyed a person's hopes and dreams their entire life.
Mary, why are you being unfair to yourself? You are being unfair to yourself. Look at me.
No,
Why are you punishing yourself?
because I deserve to be punished. Because I was just being hit with punishment. I don't know what to do. I really know how to hate myself with punishment here. Dennis, I'm not going to interfere anymore. Go ahead, Mary.
Is that what you want?
It's what Kathy wants. Listen, you know, in my I read an article in the paper that said that, you know, in India they do it all the time, and people do it without loving each other. They marry each other. The people even marry each other when they don't even know each other, and they live happily ever after.
And you really want me to marry Kathy?
No.
I didn't think that's what you meant. Thursday, Mary. Thursday.
Thursday. I'm running out of outfits, babe. Maybe I could borrow something from Kathy. Oh my God. What am I saying?
I hate her. My very own sister kissing my very own fiance in her very own kitchen. I hate her.
Oh, Kathy, you shouldn't talk that way about your own sister.
Well, what am I supposed to say about a sister I hate?
Well, you could say that you have a feeling of antagonism toward her. Now, doesn't that sound better?
What does it mean?
That you hate her?
Well, I think she's the pit.
Oh, that reminds me. Why don't you get the prawns without pits? Eating these is dangerous.
So don't eat them.
Well, that's more dangerous. Irregularities are supposed to be occasional, not a way of life.
Grandpa, I'm about to lose the love of my life. How can he sit there talking about prunes?
Don't worry. I won't be sitting here much longer after I finish them.
Dad, are you going to let Mary do that to your very own daughter?
Mary is his own daughter, too, you know.
Kathy, maybe you didn't see what you thought you saw. I mean, I can't think of anybody in this family who would do a thing like that.
Neither can I. Even though somebody in this family did what somebody in this family did with that girl in that hotel room at that convention in Milwaukee.
Oh, my God, I didn't do anything to her.
Are you more interested in that girl from Milwaukee than your very own daughter who might wind up being an old maid?
Oh, I know that one. Wind up an old maid and she goes out to catch a man.
Oh, that is funny. I just love those wind-up jokes. just that Mary is not the type to do what you said she did. All you have to do is look at her to know that.
Well, appearances are deceptive. I mean, look at Nixon. Could you think that he would do what he did?
Yes.
What did he do now?
Oh, Mom, Mary is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Behind those puff sleeves beat so hard that sneaky. Ah, Judas.
Oh, now, Kathy, let's not use biblical names in vain.
I guess that means he's still mad at me. I don't know what else it could be.
Mary, did Sergeant Foley kiss you in your kitchen?
Mom, what kind of a question is that? And what's the difference if he kissed me in my kitchen or not? You know, I read in the paper about a man who shot his wife in a pizza parlor. Would it have made any difference if it was at the Colonel's?
Then you did kiss Sergeant Foley. It's true.
Is that what Kathy told you?
Yes.
Well, then I think that we all have to have a very serious talk about this, and I think that we all better sit down.
Mary, we are sitting down.
Well, good. That's very good. That's very good that you're all sitting down because we don't have to waste any time sitting down. You are sitting down. So I think that we should have this talk, and I will be standing up for part of this talk. And but did I say good morning to you? I meant to say good morning to everyone. So, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mary.
Stop stalling.
I am not stalling, Kathy. Do not confuse politeness for stalling.
Oh, I suppose you think it's polite to kiss your sister's fiance.
Oh, that reminds me of something.
What?
I want to talk to you about that. So I'm really glad that you're all sitting down so that we can talk about that, okay? I really am glad. Does anyone want some coffee? You know, while I'm up, I could fix a little,
Never mind the coffee yet. Let's hear what you have to say.
what I have to say. Okay. Kathy came into my kitchen when Dennis Foley was holding me and his lips were pressed against mine. Is that right, Kathy?
You bet that's right.
That's right. But he was not kissing me.
What was he doing?
Well, I know this is going to sound very odd. He was giving me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
Oh.
He was!
Well, how come?
Because I fainted.
Why?
Well, what's the difference why I fainted? It doesn't matter why I fainted. I mean, the important thing is that this man was giving me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
Standing up.
Vertical mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
I never heard of that, Mary.
Well, neither did I. But it's a new thing, you know, it's a latest thing. And he said that he learned it from a fireman friend of his.
But Dennis is a policeman, and I bet he doesn't even know any firemen.
Oh, Kathy. How could
probably
you
does.
say that? You know that policemen and firemen are so close. They are so very close. They deal in exactly the same things. They deal in protection and safety, right? Well, of course he knew that. It was the latest thing, and that's how he learned it. And he learned this latest thing, and he was giving me this latest thing, this vertical mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
How could you faint standing up?
No, I didn't faint standing up. I mean, I fainted, you know, lying down, lying there. And what he did was he took me, picked me up off the ground. You know, I mean, it's very drafty in here, and I think someone must have left the window open. So he picked me up off the ground, right? And, you know, he's holding me there, and he's giving me this newest, latest thing, you know, this vertical mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. It's the newest thing. It's a way of saving people without having to lie down with them. You can save their lives, but you don't have to actually lie down with them. Okay, so as he's doing this to me, and I'm breathing life, he's breathing life into me. Who walks in? Kathy.
Oh, all right.
Is that a unanimous opinion? Okay. Okay, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'll tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth, okay? Dennis Foley was kissing me, but you have to understand why.
Oh, don't worry about that. I understand fine.
No, you don't understand why. If you understood, you wouldn't be mad at me, Kathy. He was kissing me because he loves you so much.
Oh. Listen, why don't you just go back to that vertical mouth-to-mouth resuscitation? It makes more sense.
No, I mean it. I mean, he loves Kathy so much that it is like a river that overflows. It overflows from you onto all of us as your family. It's just overflowing like a river, like overflowing onto the banks. That's how much he loves you.
I catch cold when I get my feet wet.
Right. Kathy, don't you see that when he was kissing me, he was really kissing you? I mean, his love for you is that strong. I mean, he feels the same way about Pa.
Yeah, well, if he ever kissed me, I'd belt him in the mouth.
No, but Pa, I mean, it's in a different way. He feels it in a different way. For example, have you noticed how strong his handshake has become? Have you noticed that? I mean, you have noticed that, right? Have you shaken hands with him lately?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then you've noticed that, right? Don't you see that what he is feeling for Kathy, he feels so much love for her. It's just overflowing. It's touching all of us. It's touching all of us. It's touching me. It's touching you. It's touching all of us as a family. It's just coming out onto all of us. And that's why he was kissing me. Now do you understand? Yeah.
Good.
I understand that you want to take him away from me, and that Dennis knows that you have the hots for him.
Well, I'd say the same thing as Kathy, except, of course, I wouldn't use the word hots.
Huh?
I think you should have kept up with that vertical mouth-to-mouth resuscitation jazz.
I love you, Mary. I wish I could say I believe.
Well, in case anyone wants to talk to me, I'll be home. That's next door. Just in case anyone wants to talk to me.
Well, it is clear to me that Mary does have feelings for Dennis. Every time he goes in for her, she goes in for him. She's torn, but she definitely has those feelings. Now, I do not agree with Dennis in terms of how he is behaving and that he thinks he is right. I think he is wrong. I think he is pushed in on someone's walls. And maybe it was seen very differently in the 1970s. You know, you want to be firm and clear, but there's a lot of me that sees Dennis as very selfish. And that's just looking at Dennis's point of view. He just wants what he wants, and he really doesn't care about Kathy's feelings or Roberta's feelings or any other of Mary's feelings besides that basic attraction that she has. So it is clear that she has attraction, but it's not all that she is. And for Dennis to prioritize that one element of Mary's emotional state means to me that he doesn't care for any other part of her emotional state. And that all of the things that he says to her about why are you not being true to your own feelings, that's just lip service. that's manipulation. That's the kind of stuff that, during the free love era of the late 60s, and this is just a few years later, that's like, oh, it's free love time, so you can have sex with me. And that was the kind of manipulation that was going on. We should be doing things differently. Emotions are so complex. And you're basically, Dennis, tearing Mary apart here in my mind, in my point of view. I think that Dennis is doing something really wrong. I can't fault Mary for having feelings for him. Apparently, she's been attracted to him since the first episode of the show. I feel like Dennis pushing, that's like what he does. I mean, obviously, it got a big reaction out of me. I'm sure it got a lot of reaction out of people back in the 70s. I just think he's wrong. And of course, then getting caught by Kathy in that situation. I wish that Kathy could see more clearly that Dennis is the one that is pushing on this. I acknowledge that Mary has the feelings that she denies so vehemently. Those feelings are there. She denies them. They're there still. And I wish that Mary maybe had been clearer about the situation. I think she did try, and Kathy did get the impression, at least for one episode, that Dennis was interested in Mary. And so I wish that Kathy could see more clearly that Dennis is, at least in my mind, the person who's at fault. But of course, the blame goes on Mary because this is her show. So there we go. And Mary goes and makes it worse by trying to cover up. She's been in such denial of her feelings for the entire episode. Given that I currently believe that she does have feelings for Dennis, she's been in denial of those feelings for a long time and dishonest with everyone. So I can see that people don't trust her now. I think it was really hard for me to see because Grandpa, getting up and saying, I love you, Mary, but I don't think I can believe you, is really honest. And I think that's the kind of Grandpa stuff that I need to see in this show. I want to see more of that and less of like, where are the prunes, where's the peanut butter? So Mary is definitely, things ain't gonna go well. I'm not sure when Tom's gonna hear about this either. Tom is definitely going to hear about this. Not sure if it's going to happen next week or next month, or if it will be a secret that is held for a significant amount of time, but it's a big deal. And then Thursday is imminent. So will Mary go and see Dennis? Yes, she has feelings, but she loves Tom too. I mean, no, they have difficulty communicating and they are not seeking help for that problem in their relationship. But I don't think, I think if Dennis wants what he wants and he doesn't care how other people feel. Yes, he says he cares about Mary's nugget of attraction to him. Doesn't care about any other part of her. That's how I'm going to read it. And that kind of behavior is stuff I don't like when I see it in real world. When I see people not caring how other people feel. That's the ultimate, like, socially I will not spend time with you. If I'd lose respect for people who behave this way to other people. And that's not to say that I'm perfect, because I'm human. But this specific behavior is stuff that really bothers me. And that is the April 30th, 1976 episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Thank you for letting me let it out a little bit. This was our Friday episode, so again, thanks for coming along, and we will see you next week in Fernwood.